Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to peek inside the minds of some of the world's most successful innovators. We're going to break down how they spot those game-changing opportunities that for whatever reason, almost everyone else just completely misses. So let's just dive right in with this one single question from the venture capitalist Peter Thiel. Now, he uses this as his ultimate filter. Why? Because he believes the answer is the key to finding a truly breakthrough idea. And listen, this isn't some trick question. It's a real test of whether you can think for yourself. And that really is the heart of it, isn't it? The goal isn't just to be different for the sake of being different. Nope. It's to be correct when nobody else is. And it takes some serious courage to stand by an idea that feels unpopular, especially when the rest of the world is running in the opposite direction. So, in this explainer, we're going to look at this through three different lenses. First, we'll get into that core contrarian mindset. Then we'll explore some really practical tactics for finding those hidden gems. And finally, we'll talk about what it actually takes to bring those ideas into the real world. All right, first up, the contrarian question. Let's really get into Peter Thiel's core framework for how progress happens, because it is all built on this one powerful way of thinking. So Thiel says, look, there are really only two ways we make progress. The first is what he calls technology, or going from 0 to 1. This is vertical progress, inventing something totally new, like the very first personal computer. And the second is globalization, or going from 1 to N. This is more horizontal, just copying things that already work, like taking a successful coffee shop chain and opening a new one in another city.
And the ultimate prize for that 0 to 1 thinking, it's discovering what he calls a secret, a really important truth that almost no one else has figured out yet. A truly great company, he says, is built around one of these secrets. It allows them to create something so unique, so valuable, that it basically becomes a monopoly.
And that whole search for a secret leads us right to Thiel's biggest and, let's be honest, his most controversial idea, that the goal is to build a monopoly. Okay, so this is a really contrarian idea, right? I mean, everything we learned in school tells us competition is good, but Thiel sees it as a trap, a brutal fight that just chews up profits and makes everyone focus on their rivals instead of innovating. For him, a monopoly isn't about being evil and crushing everyone. It's about creating something so good that you don't have any direct competitors. And that freedom is what lets you think about the future.
So how do you know if you're onto one of these monopoly potential ideas? Well, Thiel has a checklist of 7 questions you have to answer. For instance, he asks, are you starting with a big share of a small market? Which is so smart, right? It's way easier to dominate a tiny niche first.